We are now being joined by Director General of the Yahya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization, Hafsat Abiola Costello. Welcome to the program, Hafsat Abiola Costello. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good to see you again.
Yes, thank you very much. Well, you have been appointed the head of the Yahya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization. What motivated you to take the appointment?
On the 5th of June, 1996, we got word that Hafsat Abiola, my mom, had been gunned down in Lagos. And I stood with at the time we were 5 of the siblings in the United States. So we stood together in a circle and we held hands. And I made a promise to them. I said, we will not let her down. Why was Hafsat Abiola killed? She was killed because she was fighting for democracy. And ever since that time, I stood in the circle with my siblings and I made that promise. Every step has been to honor that promise. And the step I have taken today to be the Director General of the Yahya Bello Presidential Campaign Organization is in line with that promise, not just to Hafsat Abiola, but also and perhaps especially to Moshood Abiola. They died for Nigeria. They died that Nigeria should have a democracy, and they died that Nigeria should have a democracy where the Nigerian people would be completely in control and where we would have Nigerians say farewell to poverty. In Governor Yahya Bello, in spite of all the controversies that has been put out there by other interests keen to end his aspirations, having studied the man myself, and I'm not, as I'm sure you've known me for over 30 years, I'm not in any way driven by pecuniary interests. I'm driven by one thing and one thing alone, and that is the rise, even not just of Nigeria, but of the African continent. And I've studied this man. I'm not concerned about the fact that there are so many controversies around him, because I remember that there were so many controversies around Moshood Abiola. But I never had any loss of faith in MKO Abiola. And I have every reason to believe that this man has the same credentials, the same heart and spirit and commitment to my people, the Nigerian people who have been suffering for 30 years. And anything that is necessary for me to do to bring about his victory, be rest assured that there's nothing stopping me.
Well, I mean, since the declaration, I've had some people making some comments that as the daughter of Chief MKO Abiola, who ran a presidential campaign that was tagged Hope 93, how do you feel that Governor Yahya Bello has appropriated that, campaign slogan, and now he's talking about Hope 2023? You say there are some similarities between him and your dad, but how do you feel from Hope 93 to Hope 2023? Some people may just think this is like stealing the copyright.
He can steal it. MK would have been more than happy to give it to him. If MK were alive today, I feel confident that if he saw that after 30 years, in spite of some progress that we've made in the last, within this current administration in the last 8 years, that the poverty is still so deep in the country. We still count 70 million Nigerians living under the line of poverty. MK would say to whoever would listen, shouldn't you bring back my manifesto? Shouldn't you try again to build a new momentum and to see if finally we can get the Nigerian people to the destination that God wants for them. He would be so honored, he would be so moved, he would want to help in any way that he could. Indeed, you know, Dr. Abati, I've always felt that when I die, one day, I will go to the ancestral place and I will be seated between MKO and Kudi. And they'll say, what have you been doing? You know, because they know the way that the training was done, that being their daughter, I would know that I have a responsibility to see what could be done to help MKO fulfill his promise. And to now have Governor Yahaya Bello come to me and to say that he has sought out the man that helped my father work on creating that manifesto that we all know today. To see again and pull together a team to see how that manifesto can be adapted to suit the new challenges that we have before us as a country, and to give new momentum and impetus to that effort. It's a no-brainer. We will start this work, we will see where it goes so that I have something to report, and I really look forward to that day.
Well, when you compare your dad to Governor Yahaya Bello, well, some people may also find that disturbing. What exactly are the similarities? Because before your dad, you know, ran for that presidential election, I mean, it was, you know, an international businessman, you know, the leading entrepreneur in Africa, the pillar of sports, a brick builder across Nigeria. Even in his local community, he was a shining star. And, you know, he had a solid career as an accountant, as an investor that people knew about. And then you compare him to Governor Yahaya Bello. You need to please explain that a bit further.
Yes, I'm happy to do so, Dr. Abati. First of all, let me say, you know, when I was born, there are a group of us that look a lot alike among my father's children. And apparently we look almost exactly like my paternal grandmother. So I've always had a privileged role with my dad, where it was a lot of love and affection and trust. My father had a lot of trust in me. Like it felt almost as if his mother had come again. But when I would spend time with my dad, you did not get a sense of all these things that you've listed about him, which are true. What you got a sense of was his heart. That his heart did not belong to him. As far as MKO Abiola was concerned, his heart was for the people of Nigeria. MKO was first and he was last about the people of Nigeria. It was it was almost an obsession, something that was overwhelming, and it was absolute for him. And because that was the rhythm of his heartbeat, what it meant was that when he would interact with Nigerians, be they poor, be they wealthy, he interacted with them as human beings, with a lot of respect, with a lot of affection. He had time for people. He wanted to solve people's problems. He wanted to be part of them. He never wanted to be above. He never felt superior to them. This is very much the same with Governor Yahaya Bello. When you interact with him, you interact with someone that sees that his humanity is connected to yours, that looks to treat you with respect, that looks to embrace and pull you close and sit with you in an equal platform. So in his DNA is a democratic ethos because he is completely egalitarian. That was also similar to MKO. Both of them are chartered accountants. Both of them are fellows of the Institute of Chartered Accountancy of Nigeria. Both of them were professionals. Governor Yahaya Bello was in the federal government, working as a federal civil servant before he decided to take up this call for office. And as you said, MKO took another path through the world of business, but as an accountant as well, before he now made the turn. Now, this is the very interesting thing, and this is when the similarities get a little bit uncanny. Neither of them accepted a godfather. Neither of them. MKO was very much his own man. And I think because people felt, some vested interests felt, that it would not be someone they could control, they worked very hard to bring about the tragic events that we saw after the June 12th election. Likewise with Governor Yahaya Bello. This is somebody from a minority ethnic group who had the audacity to believe that he could be governor of a state, even though he's a minority from that state. And then the audacity to believe that a state that is not even, one of the majority ethnic group states of Nigeria can deliver the president of Nigeria. MKO also had that same audacity because at the time there was this story that went out about Nigerian people that we were tribalistic, that we were divided, and that a Yoruba man could not win the presidential election. And MKO decided that it was going to test those stories and it was going to defy the odds. So in many ways, they're so very similar. And they have a lot of courage, both men. So MKO was never afraid to challenge the vested interests. Neither is Governor Yahaya Bello. I think in one way they differ. MKO had this way of trusting people that was just a beautiful thing to behold. So if you told him something, you would trust it. And we could see after the annulment of the election how that set him up for some of the problems that he encountered after, because this the military, one key soldier would say, I'm going to do this and that, and MKO would believe that we're all working together for the good of this country, and I think he's going to do that. Whereas Governor Yahaya Bello is more, is more aware of the way in which people are deeply flawed and how their deep flaws can affect their ability to act in the collective interest. So he has been able to navigate those waters of treachery with a great deal of success. And so it is the reason why I believe that if we miss that train in 1993, with this candidate, we can feel that he has some of the strengths of MKO and he has additional strengths that would ensure that we do not miss it in 2023.
I was going to ask you, he's from North Central. And if you look at the party, the APC will seem to have zoned the presidency to the south. And hence you have most of the major figures who have shown interest on the platform of the APC. They are Southerners. Former Governor Rotimi Amechi, I mentioned in the introduction. You have Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some people are rooting for the vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And then your candidate, your aspirant, is from the North Central. What do you think about rotational presidency? The PDP has spent 8 years already. The APC has spent 8 years using the North as, presidential material. So how do you think this will play out, really? And how do you think your, aspirant can compare with these other, heavyweight, aspirants also on the platform of the APC?
So first of all, I think what is important to note is that MKO Abiola did not emerge as a candidate because there was an agreement for rotational presidency within the SDP. He just presented his candidature along with other members of the party, and they had to contest within the party, and then they had to then present themselves to the Nigerian people, the two leading candidates from SDP and NRC. What is democracy, Dr. Abati, but the opportunity for candidates to put themselves forward, be considered on their record and their platform, and for the party and then for the country to choose. I think that it becomes very dangerous when we start using all these gimmicks that take away the right of the people to decide who leads them. Some people have said, and there is a basis to agree, that it is time for the Southeast to give us a leader. And I say, let the Southeast give us their candidates. Let the candidates put together in the way that Governor Yahaya Bello is preparing his platform and through their campaign organization, and present themselves through the party and then to the country. Dr. Abati, we must either trust the Nigerian people or we don't. But I want us to be able to give the Nigerian people my candidate. I think is the best candidate. And we will do our work in the next 7 weeks to make sure that the party aligns with us. And then we will present him to the Nigerian public and hope that other parties go through a democratic process to pull out a candidate and see who the Nigerian people choose. At the end of the day, my faith is in the Nigerian people, and I want the Nigerian people to decide in 2023.
Just 2 quick questions. If we can do that in 3 minutes, it will be fine. The first is, what exactly does Governor Yahaya Bello has to offer Nigerians? What is his agenda? I know he talks about hope, but if you can break that down a bit.
Yes. And so he has a campaign founded on 3 platforms. The first is unity. The second is security. And the third is prosperity. As I said, when he has been thinking about how to adapt the Hope platform of 1993 to today's Nigeria, these 3 things stood out to him. The first, unity. The country is deeply divided. It is why we're looking for things like rotational presidency, things like that, to manage the deep divisions in the country. Yet, Governor Yahaya Bello, not relying on any rotational arrangement, as a candidate from a minority group from his state, emerged as governor of his state. And as soon as he took office, he has been working to bring together the 3 groups that had been so deeply divided, and he has united them. Within his government, he has ensured that all 6 geopolitical zones of the country are well represented. And he has also ensured that the deep division, the true marginalization in the country of majority groups, which are the women of Nigeria and the young people of Nigeria, would be addressed in his administration, which is why his administration now boasts over 90% composition of young people and women. And this is something that we hope that if given the mandate in 2023, that he will replicate at the federal level. Now, he also has done so much in terms of at the local government level, the legislative councils headed by women. The vice chairman of every local government is a woman in his state. At the cabinet level, 35% of the positions are held by women. His SSG is a woman. His head of service, he's had 3 heads of service since his administration began. Each one of them is a woman. His aide-de-camp, it was incredibly controversial in the country that his aide-de-camp is a woman who I've met, and she's highly competent. There's frankly, and today, look at his campaign organization. This is a man with the ambition to be president of a country who has asked me, a female, to be the first ever director general of a presidential campaign in the history of Nigeria. This he has done, for this is the most important thing to him, and he has put a woman in charge. His director of media is also female. So, and then young people who feel deeply alienated from the country, and is one of the reasons why we are seeing so much unrest and insecurity have been so well integrated into his government. Or Dr. Abati, you should have given me more time.
Well, I'm trying to manage time, actually. There will be other opportunities to say your candidate. But I wanted to ask you, how do you intend to do this? I thought you were living in somewhere in Europe, in Brussels. Are you coming home specially just because of this? Or you'll be doing it by...
So this happened...
Yeah.
Oh, how can you? Don't even try to say what you were about to say. Don't even try that. You know, so as I explained at the very beginning, my gentle siblings and I stood in a circle and we made a commitment to Kudirat Abiola upon hearing about her death. Now, when I received this call and with this invitation, with this opportunity, I called my family, this time my children and my husband, Nick Costello, and we talked and we agreed. And my children know me and Nick knows me, is, you know, that whenever there's an opportunity to bring about the change of fortunes of Africa, there is no question of yes or no, just of when and how. So within days of the request to serve in this capacity, I was on a plane to come here to have an initial meeting and to begin the process of working with my incredible team at the campaign organization. And I will need to go back, yes, but for just a week to put things in place so that I can come back here to be on ground. I want to close with this, Dr. Abati. We've been having 400 years of incredible challenges for the continent of Africa. President Nelson Mandela himself said that Africa cannot rise if Nigeria does not rise. So whether my children give me weeks, months, and to come and serve my country, that's such an easy brainer for my little kids, because they've been raised very much the way I was raised, to understand that Nigeria is first, Nigeria is last, Nigeria is everything. And we must deliver on the commitment of MKO Abiola to this country, Nigeria, and to the Nigerian people.
Well, on that note, thank you very much, Hafsat Abiola Costello, for joining us on This Day Live, the Sunday talk show today. Thank you very much indeed.